Joyful Danish. Stay human. Is it even still possible to stay human? Maybe it's not too late. Hello guys, welcome to the show. I'm Joyful Danish, Daniel, cryptotherapist and psychomotor therapist. Well, that's my degree, and that means I work with the body and the mind dynamic. So it's always a mix of conversations and customized exercises in my sessions. I provide online sessions, mainly in the Web3 space, how to stay human in tech. That's the main thing. And sure, I do also focus a little bit on Web 2, but mainly it's actually Web 3 because that's where I see there's more demands for it, more need for it, and very few still seems to focus on this. Quite frankly, I haven't really met anyone else who focus on this particular aspect in the Web 3 environment, but I think that will change eventually. Anyway, welcome to the show, and let's dive into today's topic, which is crypto stress signs in a bull market. Which one do you have? And today, we're actually going to flip the coin, literally. We're going to talk about the stress in a bull market. But why is there stress in a bull market? Isn't it all good? We're going up, going crazy, right? We should partying and just have no worries, right? Because bull market aren't just, well, joy and Lambos. But for many, it's actually equally stressful, just in a sneakier way. Because in a bear market, it might be a little bit easier to see that, all right, we're going down. Everything is shit, it's not good. So, because we did cover it in episode 3, crypto stress signs in a bear market, which one do you have? And you may think that there's no different. Yeah, sure, okay, so it's excitement and it's tense and it can interrupt your sleep and whatnot. Sure, but as a cryptotherapist and from the data I have collected and to try to map out the invisible enemies that these stress signs can be in crypto, it shows from my clients that there are some differences, and we're going to dive into those signs, at least some of them, because again, it tends to be quite long, these episodes. I'm trying to keep them short because, it's only me blabbering, and I try to be, not taking too much of your time, because again, you have your life as well, so it's all good. But we're going to dive into those signs and what can be done about it, do an exercise, cover how you can start spotting overstimulation in a bull market, and how can you avoid some of this overstimulation. And that is what we're going to cover in this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get started. So, the hidden bull market struggles. From the outside, you're up, bad, in a good way. But inside, you're tired, paranoid, stressed, lonely, guilty for not selling, regretful about missing one more moonshot. And the Crypto People's Health Playbook that I made reveals that even in euphoria, we suffer in silence. And I made an overview of bull market stress signs, and they are in physical, psychological, and behavioral category, each of their own. We're going to quickly run through some of them, but I'll show the different categories one by one as we cover them. Because that's the thing, right? Even though everyone must go through their own experience, people preach but life teach. Knowing that others have faced similar challenges can be reassuring. So all these different stress signs is actually collected from other people in the Web3 space. And by becoming more aware, learn your own stress signs, behavior, emotions, and thoughts, you can improve your decision making and learn your stress signs physically as well. and potentially avoid some of the traps, dangers, and euphoria and scams and emotional roller coaster that all this can be during a in a bull market, so you can stay in charge and stay human. Again, that's the main thing of this podcast, trying to uncover. So many have experienced FOMO, greed, overconfidence, and blind trust. Learning from their mistakes can help you navigate with greater clarity and resilience. So if we take physical signs, there is, for example, sleep disturbance, eye strain, dizziness, diet changes, increased blood pressure, wear and tear on the nervous system, because this craziness of like, you're in limbo, you haven't got any gains before you actually sell and cash out. Until then, you're still in the game, you're still on that roller coaster. So that's what many people also forget. High risk, high reward is also high equals high stress. And that can also create bad digestions and overload and overwhelming states in your body. That's what we're going to cover a little bit further down. How can you then notice those signs, and what can be done to possibly prevent some of this overload or overwhelming state. And then being in a hunt mode, because again, you have your hook out and you haven't catched the fish, reeled it in. Until you do, you will not be able to relax fully. All right, and then psychological signs, anxiety about missed gains, because what if you miss? What if you don't take any gains? You don't take profit. And then slowly you see things will just bypass you. Or you did take some gains and now you're overconfident. Self-doubt after mistakes, decision paralysis, restlessness, sudden wealth syndrome. You hit jackpot, but so much that you actually didn't prepare yourself that how you're going to manage that, And we did actually make an episode on that in the episode 2. Yes, in episode 2. So that's a little bit of a deep dive into that if you're curious about that. And what do we have else? Sharing too many details about your crypto on the internet and whatnot. Overly optimistic. Greed, envy, sadness, fear, anger, loneliness. And not knowing what caused the error when you're doing crypto. You're trying to do something with your wallet or a transaction or whatever, and it fails and you don't know why. That can be kind of stressful as well. The last category is behavioral signs. Avoiding portfolio review because it's going pretty bad, or it's maybe pretty good, but you don't trust yourself, so how are you going to react if you're going to see that there's so many zeros or you lost a lot of zeros? You maybe start overtrading. You maybe start to isolate from other people. You're not social anymore. High risk strategy. And you postpone to take profits. And this one is actually from Charlie Munger, but with a little bit of a twist from Richard Hart. Liquors, ladies, leverage, and lawyers. Those are the 4 L's that's going to ultimately get you wrecked. And social circle changes, because suddenly you made a lot of money. People start to act differently around you. Jumping into hyper trades. Ignoring exit strategies that you actually made pre the bull market, but because of peer pressure, you're changing strategy. Overconfident due to social validation, getting paranoid because now you have so much money, how are you going to keep it? That's the thing. One thing is to get it, another thing to keep it. So that's another one. Letting fear of judgment delay decisions. Deviation from strategy, from day by day, or maybe on the long term, on the short term. It can be different aspects into this. Security concerns. Again, back to like how you're going to keep this, but also how can you actually be safe as a person. Imagine if you're blabbered too much about how much you're actually having, you're starting to maybe attract attractive attention. And that can be scary. And the last one, mismatching between what you know and what you do. So that was a quick rundown of these different stress signs in a bull market. And if we take some examples, for example, FOMO and greed. You're overleveraging and ignoring risk, wanting just 10% more. I told myself I'll sell at $2, but I'll hell to $2.20. But then it dumped, and I kept chasing higher and higher prices. Again, it's unfortunately not uncommon that this happens. So that's also what this is about, to actually share that these things are normal, but again, invisible enemies that we all should be aware of. Otherwise, we're just going to, what can you say? Look things burn right in front of us and not doing anything about it. And that can be scary as well. We need to be able to have power and be in charge of what we're doing. Empower ourselves, Another example, sadness and regret. You sold too early, others made more, you can't celebrate your win. So even though I tripled my investment, I couldn't stop comparing to others. That's another thing, right? The third example, success makes it hard to relate. You're scared to be vulnerable. I was making money but couldn't tell anyone. I feel disconnected from friends who didn't get it. So that's the thing. You want one last more example? All right, here it is. Overtrading and burnout, sleep issue, decision paralysis, and impulsive revenge trading. I was in 14 trades at once. I hadn't slept in 2 days. I was scared to step away. So yeah, you kind of get the picture. There is plenty of things that can still be quite stressful, even though it's exciting times and things going up, but you can still end up actually, make the wrong decisions. So let's go to a quick exercise, but before that, let's do a short physical exercise, because that's the thing. We're consuming so much information that sometimes we forget to actually just have a little bit of a break. So take a deep breath and close your eyes. For a moment, you just notice your breath. Don't try to control it. And maybe you actually put your hand on your belly button and another one on your chest. And that will simply enhance the physical sensations that you maybe will sense of how your breath is moving. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more last time before we continue. Yes. And come back to the present moment. So what could you do? One thing could be to actually journal and reflect about, write down what trade or opportunities caused you to stress this week. So you start to notice what kind of contribution factors are actually in your life that makes it hard to not be relaxed. And then you can try to track that on a physical level, on like trying to train to increase your body awareness in the form of like how do you sense your signs in your body, these different stress signs, and then psychologically in your thoughts, what thoughts made me act from fear or greed. And then what is one boundary I can set for next week? For example, stop working after X clock of time, or trying to address one of these stress factors or thoughts. Maybe it's a certain influencer. All right, should you maybe reconsider to unfollow this person so you don't get this influence of increasing potentially your stress? Is it actually supportive or unsupportive, this social input? Because that's the thing, otherwise it can actually just be a contribution factor for overall overwhelm your system, create an overload in your nervous system. And here's just some examples to that. For example, physically, lack of sleep, excessive screen time, overstimulation, you become more alert with your focus. You're skipping meals, you're overuse caffeine, and psychologically it can be FOMO, fear of missing out, pressure to perform, unrealistic expectation, decision fatigue, anxiety about losing gains, and behavior, social media hype, all these influencers talking about, oh, it's going further, it's going even more crazy. Peer pressure, also because of maybe your social circle are also a little bit in this space, and they're also talking and focusing on this, and they're also kind of hyped, you know. And constant comparing what the other guys are saying, or girls, and that creates a group thinking narrative, you know, that, okay, but I mean, we all say this, but I'm not sure, but all the other guys said it, talks about this, and so and so. And overcommitment to communities. I remember there was this YouTuber that said, like, you can kind of compare, if you are in certain crypto communities, it's sort of like or was it a football team, a religion, and a cult. And yeah, it definitely can seem like a cult. There's definitely a lot of different things going on in crypto, but that's why it's so important to dive into these things, even though I know that mental health aspect, or health aspect in general, can be a little bit crazy to look into. But like this card that I saw says as well, I know that the shadows come from the light. So that's the thing. What can we then do about it? Supportive actions to unload the overload. Well, it could be many things, but again, I'll give some ideas, and then you can take what you maybe feel like, okay, that could be an idea, I can do that. Because that's the thing, the easier that you can make your mind to just think, is it just that? Alright, if it's just that little small thing, I guess I can do that. I guess I could try that, just for some time. Anyway, schedule digital detox breaks. Prioritize meals and hydration. Tech-free mindfulness time. Maybe only just 2 minutes. Or you start to do a little bit more stretching when you sense your physical signs kind of give an indicator like, okay, bro, we have been sitting here for a while now, so maybe we should do a little bit of movements, just a little bit, you know. And realign action with personal goals. Write down a no trade boundary, or no check the price zones, and practice micro rests, maybe 5 minutes pause, power naps, and so on. Simplify decision making processes, journaling wins and lessons. Rest before 1 more trade urge. So take a break or move location, simply step out of the room that you're in where you normally do these things, to allow yourself to actually, all right, calm down, don't rush things. Reaffirm long-term strategies, declutter social media follows. Again, this bad influence of social media personalities. Check in sometimes. Are they still supporting what you're focusing on? Notice your body fatigue signals. So again, train your body awareness. Again, that's what I help people with as well. Because in this way, and you can use this for any other areas in your life as well. The more you learn your stress science, the better. Because then you're not getting overwhelmed, you are better at setting boundaries, and you have a more healthy and more relaxing life. And that's important too. That has value too. Celebrate discipline, not just profit. Take a full day offline regularly. Or at least just sometimes, And that's where, again, do it just in a small dose, and then slowly you can maybe do it more and more. Because all these dopamine quick fixes, with TikToks and YouTube Reels and Instagram and whatnot, like, let me tell you something, and then boom, you're gone, 2 or 3 seconds, boom, 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 boom. But that gets depleted in your brain to release that dopamine eventually. And it's not very healthy long term, not at all. But you can use that mechanism to your advantage by slowly building these small habits, by doing it in a very small way. Because that's the thing, if you do a to-do list where there's like literally 30 things, if you only manage to do 29 of them, your brain are not going to reward you in the same way, because you didn't finish the list. So if you only make the list for maybe 3 or 5 things, and you manage to do those, you get rewarded by your brain. So that's a little bit of a hack for you. And ground through breath or body scans. So for example, the exercise we just did earlier, that's definitely also a nice little one. Because grounding is key, There is a reason that the body seems to be so slow. It's just so slow. Like in my mind, I'm already so much faster. I'm already there, and so. Right. But if you didn't have your body and it didn't work like this, that it does, you already went to the moon with your mind mentally before your crypto is going to go. So without the body to help you to actually ground yourself and come back, to slow down and remember to have these pauses and breaks, it keeps things in check. But sometimes we forget that, and I feel like that's part of the question, like how to stay human in tech. It's simply that. It can be boiled down to that. The body is a perfect anchor to come back to Earth. Don't stay on the moon. You can enjoy Earth. You are here, at least physically, but you can realign yourself and come back, So preventative actions that can be taken. Create clear profit-taking rules. Preset time for reviewing gains. And again, it will also be an idea to actually make targets of when should you take profits way before the bull market. So you actually have a plan, but you have no emotions playing with you if you're first making the goals while you're in it. So that could be an idea as well. Block time for recovery, not just hustle. Build a pause and review habit. Focus on learning, not rushing. limited exposure to hype channels, again social media, YouTube and so on. Plan for market downturns mentally. What goes up will also go down eventually. So yeah, that is important to remembering. And anchoring decisions to strategy, not emotions. Define personal success beyond money. For example, make a gratitude practice. So you actually start to, again, your brain can reward you because you can appreciate also the small things in life instead of always pursuing what's not in your life and what is still not enough. So make an enough list. Make a gratitude practice. For example, 3 to 5 things today that happened the same day that you were grateful for, to experience, to see, and to remember. And schedule social breaks to recharge. Observe excitement without reacting instantly. Practice delayed decision making. Sleep on it, Wait a little bit. This has to be today. This has to be now. Maintain realistic expectation. Prioritize body maintenance, movement, training, sleep, food, breaks. Again, we can be active, but we can also be inactive, Relaxed states versus active state. And remind yourself, not every opportunity is mine. So, yeah. You don't have to maximize everything. You just need to sustain something. Your health, your relationship, your inner peace. The balance between your calm, easy mode and fight and hard mode. Ask yourself if it's necessary to put all your life settings on hard. Again, this is actually a future episode I'll go into deeper. And this is just a little bit of a teaser. And in closing, I would say you don't need to apologize for thriving, but you also don't need to suffer silently to succeed. If you're in the green, celebrate it. But take care of your nervous system too. Again, please, if you like this podcast and this episode, drop a review, share with a fellow bull, and keep showing up for your whole self. Next time, we're going to talk about how to survive a rug pull and how to avoid future rug pulls. Until then, stay human, and for a limited time, you can book a free talk with Lemoir, cryptotherapist Daniel, on calendly.com/joyful. And there's a link below. And thank you for tuning in. Take care. Stay human. Joyful Danish. Stay human. Is it even still possible to stay human? Maybe it's not too late.